welcome back to Nikki's Scrapbooking Adventures. Today we are going to do something a little bit different for sketches on Wednesdays. And we're going to use a program called Silhouette. Now I do have a Silhouette Cameo and it allows me to create cut files in order to cut them out of paper. And that's something that I need to do for this specific picture. So this picture is of my son playing his new game, Little Orchard, and he absolutely loves it. Now, when I was going through my paper materials, I didn't really have anything fruit related. I know there's the line by Carta Bella that's fruit stand, and you can see the colors are pink, green, orange, blue, and very dainty and watercolory. So for example, like this one right here is girly in my opinion. I love it. It's beautiful. But when I'm talking about this photo here, it doesn't match the vibe. And so I thought it'd be perfect to use my sketch to match the vibe. And so I have opened up Silhouette here. And my paper size is 12 by 12. And I'm using it my Cameo Media Mat. So that's kind of what you see in the background there. And I turned off my registration marks. Registration marks are used for when you want to print and cut, and they add and print these little dots and corners so that the machine can determine where the cut area is. I do have the business edition of Silhouette, but everything I'm doing today is going to be the free. You can totally do this on the free version. So let's take a look at the picture and analyze it. In this game, what happens is you have 4 trees that make 4 different fruit. And you roll this die that tells you the color that you can pick of the fruit. And you're trying to beat the crow, which is in the little picture right here, before it can get to the orchard. Orchards tend to have fences, and there's 4 different fruit that we're going to be using. So that's what I'm going to use to my advantage. I'm going to print my pictures in 4x3. So I usually like to start by this so I can tell how big I want everything. I have to unlock the dimensions, because if I lock it, then it's going to adjust. So say if I do 3 here, it's going to adjust my height to 4. So I need to unlock it so I can actually get the size. Now that I'm looking at this picture is going to be too big for what I'm intending to do. So I'm actually going to do 2x3. And that's something that's kind of nice about planning ahead when you are looking at your photos. So one neat trick, you could totally Control C and copy and then Control V and paste, but in Silhouette a built-in feature is you can use Control and then the arrow key. So I picked the right arrow key. Say I pick the down arrow key, it's going to go down, left arrow key, right arrow key, and that's all with the Control button hit. So I think I'm probably going to have 2 photos and I'm going to line them up kind of like right there. Now just like in the game, I want circles. So in the game they have circles to represent the trees. Well, I'm going to have the 4 different colors as paper, green, yellow, blue, and red, as circles on my layout. So I need to do my circle. This says draw an ellipse. Well, if I hold shift and draw, it's actually going to make it a circle. That circle is probably going to be 4 inches. So beautiful. Again, notice that I have the unlock button here when I adjust my dimensions. And then I'm going to use my Control arrow keys to get 4 different circles. And you can see in Silhouette's really nice. It already kind of snaps. That blue line tells you that it's snapped to the right and snapped to the bottom and then snapped to the left when I hit that. There's center. There we go. So now I know. It kind of looks like a Lego at this point. And then I can color it in to make it look and arrange it the way I want it. And of course, rainbow color is just easiest, right? You don't have to think about it. And then blue. And then I'm going to make these black so that I can tell where they are. Now, I'm not cutting these parts out. Let's be clear about that. This is just so I can get a feel for where I want my stuff. Now, notice this is behind it. There's bring to the front, bring to the back, or send to the back, bring forward, bring backward. You can also right click and do the same thing. So 2x3 looks right, and I want to send that to the back for the size that I want. And I'm probably gonna actually tilt these so they're like this, and then have some embellishments around the corners here. That's kind of my plan. But for right now, That looks pretty good. And my title is going to be right here. And I could totally cut my title out of that too using my cut file, but I'm just trying to get a feel for it right now. Nope, that's why. I want this to be black so I can see it. Okay, Little Orchard. And it's probably going to be like that and centered. So over here on the right hand side, I can center it. Kind of like Word, right? So this is anything with texture I could change. That's cute. Oh, I might need to cut my title out with that one. Okay, so now the part that I really want to showcase here is in why I like the Silhouette software. Is I can go to Google and I can search for fence JPEG black and white. It took me to Pinterest. Pinterest took me to ClipArts 101. ClipArt 101 allowed me to download this image, and now I can pull this into my Silhouette software. And this is why I really like Silhouette. So I'm going to pull up my downloads folder because that's where that image saved, and you can see it right here. And I can drag and drop this into my Silhouette file. Now this image is in here. Now if this image was a background, which I guess I probably could, here's a downloadable SVG. Sometimes you get something like this though, and so I'm going to show you what to do. There is a butterfly here, it's called Trace. So I'm going to trace the selected area, and I'm going to move some of these things out of the way. So to unselect just that one, I hit Shift and then unselected this. I trace selected area, and I'm going to highlight my black and white fence. You can see solid fill or outline. And if I scroll down, it's going to trace outer edge. Or I can trace a detach. In this case, I want to trace a detach. So now my background is separate from the image. Now this looks like it only did the outside. I want to do the outside and the inside so that when I cut this with my Silhouette, it looks like a fence. It wouldn't look like a fence if these interior parts are not traced and cut. So let's do that. I want to trace inner and outer. So now you can see when I remove that black part, this is now my new cut file. So I want to have a whole border of this fence. So that will probably require me to make my circles a little smaller or tighter together, I guess is really what's going to happen. I'm going to put them like tighter together. So I'm going to use my handy dandy control dealio here. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to zoom in, and I like to do the zoom like this with the little mouse so that I can make a shape and really zoom in. Right now, the red line is where it's going to cut. So there's going to be a break here in the fence, and I don't want that break. So I am going to highlight the two that are next to each other, and I'm going to weld and see if that gets rid of the line. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to Control Z and undo that. Now I'm going to overlap them so you can see there's a gap, right click, weld. Now they're gone. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the next door neighbor, right click, weld, and that's how you can get rid of, like, if you're using a cursive font, you want to weld it so it doesn't cut individual letters. There are other options for welding as well, and it's going to be over here on this modify panel. You can see weld, subtract, divide, subtract, intersect, crop. If I just did the intersection, it would only leave those two. Control Z or undo. I want to weld. So if you're not getting the result that you're wanting from one of these options, you can use the modify panel in order to try to get what you're looking for. I'm going to zoom back out to my full image. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to duplicate it and put it up here. Oops. And then duplicate it and put it over here. And I'm going to rotate it, and I think I want them not facing each other. Right click, and I'm going to flip horizontally. Note that I have a weird spot in the corners that I got to figure out, and I want to flip this vertically. It looks a little crowded right now, so I think I want to make these smaller. We're going to go like this, and then I'm going to group these, and I'm going to copy them, Control arrow key, and then I am going to rotate them. 1.15. Height, well, I guess let's do 1.1 up here, 1.1. Again, it's not locked, so the dimensions won't do the things. Won't stay proportional, which is fine. That's exactly what I want. Okay, Now, I'm going to move this down using my arrow key, and then I'm going to stretch it to like right there. 10.5, because I don't like these weird numbers. Beautiful. So this is 10.5. And that looks a lot better, less crowded. Now I'm going to group them so that I don't mess up their formation. I'm going to shift and click them all and then group them. So now they're good. I want to move these just for a little bit, and I'll keep this one grouped so they don't go away. I need to find center. Okay, so let's get rid of these. I want to find center in my page. I think that would be center. No, it's basing it off this circle. Okay. Hang on. Beautiful. Center. That's this guy right there. Beautiful. Okay. So now I'm going to base that looks good. Looks good. Looks good. Less crowded. Yay. And because I use this little box to line everything up, I know that those are even. Get rid of that box. Add my photo back in. And voila. I have what my sketch is going to look like. Oh, and I guess I can put journaling in this corner. That'll be cute. Pictures here. Title there. And voila. So that's my sketch. Now for my cut file, I'm going to add this guy. Get rid of my registration marks. That does not normally appear. I have a setting somewhere. I have no idea where. I'm going to Control C and copy that and paste it over here. And now I have a cut file that I can send to my Silhouette, and it'll cut all the red lines. Now I could save paper and like line them up, but by doing it this way, I can line them up on the page with my leftover cut file. For this part, I can use it to adjust where my fence is going to go. If you have Silhouette, I'm going to upload these to Nikki's Scrapbook Adventures Drive, and I'll link that in the description down below. Try using this sketch. See what you think. You can always use dies to do this kind of thing. You can use your Cricut. I'm not as familiar with the Cricut software, and so I show you what I know, which is the Silhouette Studio. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.